our way.
We went to one in this building, but over there last time, or the time before.
The first time they had this meeting was huge. Now it's
I know.
getting smaller and smaller. I guess that's probably the strategy is to keep rescheduling.
Yeah, the last one, yeah, it was getting a little.
So less and less people show up. Oh, the hell with it, you know. Are you? I'm here for the Sunnyside thing. Is that what you're here for?
We live on Sunnyside.
Yeah, I'm opposed to it. I'm opposed to it.
I think I don't know. We haven't been here that long. We moved in August.
I'm moving in technically tomorrow.
Where at?
On Gibson Terrace. It's off of Sunnyside. It's just a little bit south of. I'll be passing this nonsense every day. And I'm getting hopefully getting my certificate of occupancy tomorrow.
Nice moving into a different place, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm just. This is like the old place with the subdivision going on.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Well, my daughter and her husband lives in Leesburg. We stayed with them for a lot of months looking for a house. And then we found this one on Sunnyside. It wasn't, came from a very small house and a small yard to a big 2-story house and 6.5 acres.
Ooh, 6.5.
And now I'm out there looking for a mower. You know, the one that,
Yeah.
that is going to be easier for me. Because I have to run a John Deere and it takes me just to know the front end.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you just gotta get. You might want to get one that pulls the little triangle of blades behind you.
Yeah.
That they might be 10, 12 feet wide or something. It just.
Oh, well, he has me to kind of choose it up. Does it chew it up?
No, there's actually just a mower that's got rotating blades, and you can stack them. You can make them pretty wide, and you can do a little cut. Make short work of it. You're doing 10 feet or 12 feet at a time.
Really? What's that the housing area? I can't see the thing there. You know the name of it?
Frog Log Way.
Yeah, we're right there by Frog Log. This way. Wherever that's.
So who's posting?
I need to see something on it.
Yeah, I'll hold you that too soon. Yes.
Okay, hi, I'm Linda Tucker. Nice to meet you. My husband's Murray. That's the
Oh, you should have said that.
Ruth Ann.
And this is Pete.
Oh, okay.
Y'all neighbor. We bought Franklin's property.
Yeah, we come on the golf cart with our 2 little doggies. Yeah, it's, Well, I'm going out and I'm buying one of those lawnmowers here within the next month or so. What do you call it, clearance?
Zero turn?
Yeah, I want to buy one of those. Because my little John Deere, it takes me all day to get on the front part.
So y'all know. Zero turn.
They're just applying for
A plan unit development?
yeah. Because they have to start at square one, but they want 150 more acres on the They have to. Because I like that.
Office buildings and stuff like that?
164 homes on 53 buildable acres across from Camp Horizon.
Zoning in this area on here, down Sunnyside and all that?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, like it.
No, I'm already not like that.
That's why we moved
This is what the zoning, see, here's, right here is the Sleepy Hollow Lane. Where our house is here, so all this.
Yeah, we like it here.
That's not very good.
The humidity I'm trying very hard.
This is the entrance.
Well, I escaped
This is the one that goes,
from
this is
California.
where the old house is. Oldest house in Sunnyside. Oh my gosh. That's where our house is right here. Silent house is here. This is the entrance that goes to the
And now my daughter.
Camp Horizon. This is straight across here is Camp Horizon. And this is the area, you know, you got the area, well, he's supposed to own all the way up to this street. Because that's the grove. You're the backside of it, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Backs up to it? To that property, okay, where are they gonna run the water and sewer and the power? Where are they gonna run the water and sewer and power from this thing from the middle? They gotta come back here to run the power. There's a big swamp here, not real big, but it's about this size right here. And, then our property is right there, but our property line is still, we're there. Well, what I'm wondering is, where is the city, where is the city, where is the city gonna run the water and the electric, well, electric, I don't know about the water, the water. That's right there, it goes right there on that line.
No, why not?
If y'all would like to take your seats. I'd like to call the order the P&Z meeting of August 19th, 2021 to order. Will please rise for the invocation and the pledge to the flag. Dear Lord, we ask you to be with us today as we handle the business of Leesburg. The decisions we make today, we hope, will be pleasing in your sight. Pray this in thy most holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I was thinking about JC's when I did.
I ask all commissioners, please, if you'll turn your microphones on. Just hit the red button and it'll red light will come on. I'd like to take this moment to thank our Vice Chairman, Tim Sennett, who covered for me last month, and the alternates that stepped up and covered the meeting. There were 4 of us gone, middle of summer, a lot of vacations, a lot of things going on, and an attaboy to y'all. Appreciate it very much. Okay. Dan, how about you tell these folks how we're going to do business today?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to welcome everyone to the August 19, 2021 City of Leesburg Planning Commission meeting. My name is Dan Miller, Planning and Zoning Manager for the City of Leesburg. Staff present today includes Sabrina Mitchell to my left, Diane Pacewitz and Carrie Lee Simons, planners, and Christine Rock and Candy Harper, senior planners. Today's agenda is available to you on the table over here by the exit door. If you wish to speak on a case, we ask everyone to please sign the speaker's registry up here and turn it into Sabrina, who, again, is sitting to my left. Under the rules of participation, the meeting is conducted under the following process. Number 1, the chairman announces the case. and the staff will then read exhibits, including maps, photos, and text, into the record and present this information on the screens. 2, staff will then read a recommendation into the record, describe the case, and the applicant will have the opportunity to speak about the request. After that, the chairman will allow time for public comment. The applicant will then have an opportunity for rebuttal. The chairman will close the case to the public, and the commission will discuss the case. A vote is then taken, and then the commission will move on to the next case. The Planning Commission consists of citizens that are appointed by the City Commission, and they are charged with 2 major responsibilities. First is to make decisions on cases such as variances and conditional uses. Second is to make recommendations for issues to be heard by the City Commission. Today, the Planning Commission will be making final decisions on 2 variance cases and then make recommendations on comp plan and a zoning case. Those recommendations will then be forwarded to the City Commission for the final decisions. There are tentative dates for the City Commission hearings that are listed in bold on the agenda for each item. They are subject to be changed to earlier or later days, so please check with P&Z staff, my office, or the City Clerk's office regarding the final hearing dates. And finally, on behalf of the planning staff and the Leesburg Planning Commission, we wish to thank you for your participation in today's public hearing process. Mr. Chairman, staff is ready for you to announce the first case.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. We're going to change the agenda just a little bit. We're going to move the new business up front and a couple of variances that we want to take care of, and then we will deal with the Sunnyside issue. So at this point in time, I'd like to introduce case number VAR 21234, Mill Street variance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next 2 cases are variances that are the final decisions by the Planning Commission. These are just 2 variances for fence heights that are on corner lots. I want to do some explanation. Mr. Chairman, with all of the new development subdivisions that are going on all over town, we're seeing a significant number of requests for new fences within the new subdivisions. Corner lots pose a significant issue for fences and require variances to meet the code in some cases. That has to do with the height allowance. However, staff has found that when you apply the idea called a clear sight triangle, which is going to the corner and then going back 25 feet in each direction and drawing a line across to create a triangle, these fences are not a problem because the passing traffic has plenty of room to see the oncoming vehicles so that their vision is not blocked. Current city code does require a 4-foot fence on corner lots on the side yard, which in staff's opinion does not allow the owner full privacy and enjoyment of their property. And just by way of information, in the future, staff does wish to bring an amendment to the current code to allow for implementing the clear sight triangle principle to corner lots so that fences may be constructed in the future without the need for variances. So as of today, we have these 2 variances requests in regard to this matter, and in both cases, if the commission does approve these variances, then staff would apply the clear sight triangle. First one is public hearing case VAR 21234, Mills Street variance. This is a request, this case is a request for a variance from section 25-330 parentheses 3, garden walls, fences, and hedges, to allow a side yard fence abutting a secondary street on a corner lot. This request is just for 5 feet in place of the 4 feet that's allowed under the code. The location of this property is on the corner of Bentley and Mill Street. Mill Street is about 1,500 feet west of the north end of Newell Hill Road. And Candy Harper, who is the senior planner, will be presenting the maps and photo exhibits at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, before you on the screen is the locator map for this particular property. It is the northwest corner of Mill Street and Bentley Road. And you can see that the zoning is R1, it's residential. You can also see that side yard along Bentley Road. And the future land use is low-density residential. And the surrounding land uses are some form of residential either multifamily or single-family residential. The land is high and dry. There are no wetlands on the site, no flood zones on the site. And it is within the 27441 community redevelopment area. And it is in Commission District 2. We did post the property on the side yard, so about where that sign is where the sign yard is in relation to the house at Bentley Road. Then the picture on the bottom is looking east along Bentley Road. And the picture on the top is looking south along Mill Street, and on the bottom is looking north along Mill Street. And here's another posting. We do post along each roadway. So we did post on Bentley and we posted on Mills. And the picture on the top is looking across Bentley Road, and the one on the bottom is looking along Bentley Road. And that is all I have, Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Candy. With that, we move to the departmental review summaries. There were no substantive comments under the departmental reviews. We received 2 responses. One was a disapproval and one was a no comment. I'd like to go ahead and read the recommendations into the record. This is for variance VAR 21-234, Jeremy and Shira Harmeling. Relief from section 25-330, parentheses 3, variance to allow a side yard fence abutting a secondary street in a corner lot that has 6 feet height in lieu of 4 feet in height. Planning and Zoning Division is recommending approval of the request for relief from this section for the following reasons. And rather than go through the specific reasons, basically, when you look at those 6 conditions, you have under 1A, special conditions and circumstances. We don't have any special conditions and circumstances, but it does allow, the variance would allow the increased fence height to further increase protection and safety along that roadway. The circumstances under B do result as a request of the applicant. 3, this is a requirement that there's no special privilege granted. Technically, this would be a special privilege, but because of the way the code is written and how it gets implemented, we have no way around it. We would like to revise that code as we stated earlier. And then D, does the literal interpretation of the zoning ordinance deprive the applicants of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties? And staff would think that it does, because the fence height would not create a public safety concern and would provide some privacy for the applicant. The requested minimum variance is a 5-foot fence. Of course, the actual requirements for a 4-foot. And then the granting of this variance would be in harmony with the general intent and purpose of the zoning ordinance and would not be injurious to the area. Finally, under F, the intent of the law is to provide a harmonious environment and consistency within the neighborhood. Under findings and conclusions, because this law, when it is specifically and directly applied, can create more problems than it solves, staff is recommending approval of the request to recommend, based on specific wording in the City Code of Ordinances and the conditions of the surrounding neighborhood, increasing the height of the side yard fence abutting the secondary street of a corner lot does not create a safety issue or create a negative impact on surrounding properties. So in summary, while the request doesn't meet the specific letter of the law, staff sees that it does no public harm, and we're recommending that the Planning Commission exercise its right to approve this variance, with keeping in mind that we're going to make a request in the future to see if we can change this code so it works better, particularly in all the new neighborhoods that are coming forward.
Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, does the commission have any questions from staff? Hearing none. Any input from the audience? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, on hearing case number VAR 21-234, I move to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
I second.
I have a second. All in favor, say aye and raise your right hand.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion carries. All right, we can go right on to the next one, and Dan, I think it's exactly the same except for a different applicant.
It's the exact same thing except for the location.
I think we can avoid having to go through wearing your tonsils out. over
Thank you,
there.
sir.
Okay, so I'll introduce variance 21254. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve public hearing case VAR 21254, Shelville Avenue variant.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye and raise your right hand.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. Okay, now we can move on to old business. Thank you all for being tolerant with us. We just wanted to take care of that business and get it out of the way. Seems like we've discussed this a couple of times in the past, so let's carry on. I'll introduce public hearing case SSCP 2177, Sunnyside Lake Land Holding LLC, small scale comp plan amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next two cases are related. The first case is for an amendment to the City of Leesburg Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map for an area of approximately 18 acres under case number SSCP 2177. The second case is a request to rezone approximately 139 acres total, which includes that 18-acre parcel. For clarity in the presentation, we would request to be able to go over these two cases together and have the votes separated afterward, if that pleases the Chair.
That would be fine. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, as you're aware, these cases have been before the Planning Commission previously. In 2005, the property on the west side of Sunnyside Drive was zoned for 120 units, and it has also been heard in 2020 and 2021 as well. Candy Harper, with the senior planner with the office, could you go ahead and present the maps that will be maps and photo exhibits, including the aerial, zoning, future and surrounding land use, wetlands, flood zone maps, and CRA maps?
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Chairman, Mr. Commissioners, on the screen before you is a locator. You can see the property does abut the lake, and it is east of Sunnyside. It's about 18 acres. And the zoning for the property itself is in Lake County. You'll see that in a moment, but it abuts the property lying to the west, which is a planned unit development in the City of Leesburg. And the zoning for the property in Lake County is R1. Future land use for the City of Leesburg is estate residential with some conservation. And in Lake County, it is rural transition, and a little bit of conservation. The proposed future land use is estate residential. And the surrounding land uses, to the north is a church, there's timber, there's vacant residential, single-family residential, and a little bit more of vacant residential. There are flood zones in the area, quite extensive on the property. The commission district is number 1. And we, again, we have to post the property on all of the roads, so we take pictures of our posting for our records. The bottom picture is looking east along Sunnyside Drive. Top picture is looking across Sunnyside Drive. These pictures are taken from where we post the signs. The picture on the bottom is looking west along Sunnyside Drive. Again, posted on the top. Picture on the bottom is looking south along Sunnyside Drive. Looking across Sunnyside Drive. And then the picture on the bottom is looking north along Sunnyside Drive, so you get a feeling for the area. Got lots of roads out there. So the top picture again is posting. This is toward the south end, I believe, of Sunnyside. The picture on the bottom is looking north along Sunnyside Drive. And the picture on the bottom again is looking north along Sunnyside Drive, another posting on the top. And that is all I have, Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Candy. With that, we'll move to the departmental review summaries. We did not receive any substantive comments from the city departments. They could all service the development. The Lake County School Board, however, did indicate that a proportionate share mitigation agreement may be required. If the city attorney would correct me, I would define that as a payment to create student stations directly to the school board, something like that in brief. Lake County Public Works did indicate a significant number of comments, including that access off Sunnyside Drive would need to be toward the southern side of the project, plus a requirement for a site distance analysis and Florida Green Book, which is the FDOT standards book, review. Sunnyside Drive would have to be widened for the entire frontage of the project. A sidewalk trail would be required along Sunnyside Drive frontage. Additional right-of-way along Sunnyside Drive would be required. Internal pedestrian and bicycle connectivity would be required. An updated traffic impact analysis would likely be required with the future development plan if the PUD is approved, and a drainage and flood study would be required. As you're aware, we did receive significant public response to this, and folks are here today. I'd like to go ahead, Mr. Chairman, and read the recommendations into the record for these cases.
Carry on.
For the small-scale comp plan amendment, which is the 18 acres on the east side of Sunnyside Drive, that's under case number SSCP 2177. Planning and Zoning Division is recommending approval of the request. The project meets the requirements of Chapter 163-3184 Florida statutes for small-scale comprehensive plan amendments. 2, the proposed request for a future land use of estate residential is considered compatible with the adjacent future land use designations in Lake County to include rural transition, Lake County rural, and City of Leesburg estate residential. 3, the proposed request for a plan unit development zoning is compatible with the current surrounding zoning districts of Lake County R1, excuse me, rural, excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Lake County R1 rural residential, Lake County R3 medium density residential, and City of Leesburg PUD planned unit development. 4, the proposed future land use designation for the site is consistent with the city's growth management plan. Future land use element goal 1, objective 1.6. The action requested is vote to approve the small scale comp plan amendment designation from Lake County rural residential to City of Leesburg estate residential and forward the recommendation to the City Commission for their consideration. Under the zoning case, Sunnyside Lake Land Holdings Plan Unit Development Case Number PUD 2178, Planning and Zoning Division is recommending approval of this request for the following reasons. 1, the proposed request for a PUD Plan Unit Development zoning is compatible with the current surrounding zoning districts of Lake County R1 Rural Residential, Lake County R3 Medium Density Residential, and City of Leesburg PUD Plan Unit Development. 2, the proposed request for a future land use of estate residential is compatible with the adjacent future land use designations of Lake County Rural Transition, Lake County Rural, and City of Leesburg Estate Residential. 3, the proposed zoning designation for the site is consistent with the city's growth management plan, future land use element goal 1, objective 1.6. The action requested is vote to approve the proposed rezoning from Lake County R1 Rural Residential and City of Leesburg PUD to City of Leesburg PUD and forward the recommendation to the City Commission for consideration. At this time, unless you'd like me to go over the PUD, that's what staff has in its presentation, Mr. Chairman. And also Mr. Greg Belleville, Mr. Mike Rankin of LPG of Mount Dora are here, along with Mr. Brent Spain of the Tariq Spain Law Firm.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
These zonings, how many units would it allow per acre?
A total gross density of 1.17. That's for the entire, taking into account the entire property. The City of Leesburg's always used gross density on all development to keep it simple and consistent.
Okay. So that would be, you could group them together and then the wetlands won't be.
That is correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Has anybody computed what the density would be if you excluded the wetlands as part of the total acreage?
Not that I am aware of, no. The city goes by gross density.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Beliveau, I'll let you make your presentation, sir.
Good afternoon, Greg Beliveau with LPG. Happy to see you all again. I know you're thrilled to see me on this one again. And I know the property owners abutting us are thrilled to see me again. John, I have computed the density with the wetlands being taken out. The property in question is has already been, it's two tracks. The parent track is on the west side of Sunnyside, and the recently requested annexation piece is the 18 acres on the east side, for a total of 139 acres. And the PUD, as you note, has been changed since the last time you've seen it. In the first rendition that came to you over a year ago, the plan showed 18 lots on the 18 acres on the lake. That has now been revised. There are 4 lots on that 18 acres, which is consistent with the current rural land use designation that exists on there. So basically, we've kept it to 4 units, which is basically the 1 to 5 that's on there now. So that's in recognition to what's basically consistent with the lakefront development that's along the lake there. On the parent track, we went ahead and clustered everything up on the uplands, and the density, as stated by staff, is 1.17 units per acre gross, and the net density is 1.6. We have 97.1 acres of uplands. So we have 97.1. It's 1.68 acres or units per acre net. So we're still under 2. So we're not. And the thing of it is, with rural estates on our uplands allowing 4 units per acre, that's 316 units that are allowed under your current adopted land use that's been in place since 2005. So this property has enjoyed your rural estates land use designation since 2005 on the parent track. That's 316 units. With 4 units per acre allowed under the rural on the 18 acres, that's a total of 320 units that are basically allowed on here without us changing anything. We're asking for 163. That's half, basically approximately half of the units that are allowed on here by right. So we're asking for a PUD, compacting those on the uplands, and then by PUD, we're required to give you open space. Open space at 30%. We're not giving you 30% open space. We're giving you 52.9% open space. That includes our upland open space. People are going to criticize this as saying, well, you've got all those wetlands. Well, we're also giving you almost 32 acres of upland open space. So that's also part of the deal on this project. So we're giving you upland open space, we're giving you a compact development, and we're giving you different lot sizes. We're not coming here with all 50-foot lots like what you've been seeing a lot of lately. We're giving you a lot of lot options, including those large lots on the lake. So we're spreading this out. So that's basically what we're coming here today with you. It's a lot different than what was here before, especially on the lakefront. We're also basically providing you with a project that's infill. I know most of the people that are abutting us dispute that. If you look at an aerial of the area, you'll look at basically development that's pretty much crystallized around us. And I know I get criticized for the fact that when I look up the plats that are around us, a lot of these plats have been here for decades. Well, they have, but they're there, and there are houses on them. I mean, so they have been there for decades, and those subdivisions are existing, and people are living in those houses. So they do exist. And the densities that are around us are pretty much consistent. They're at 1, if you look at the subdivisions themselves and look at the areas they entail, they're pretty much consistent. They're from 1 unit per acre to 2 units per acre. Some are even at half units per acre. But this project is an infill track, and we are going to coordinate with Lake County Public Works on the road. We've already coordinated with them, and we know what we have to do on the road system that abuts our project. Now, since we last met a year ago, Lake County has repaved a good portion of Lakes or Sunnyside Drive. They went the other way. And so we've got to take care of our section. We also coordinated with them that on the curve at this location, if they want to buffer that curve, we'll work with them to take additional right-of-way to buffer that curve out. We'll work with them to do so. And with that, I mentioned that I would keep this at a minimum. I'll wait for the discussion from our opposition, and be glad to come back and rebuttal and answer any more questions.
Very good. Thank you. I see we have some interest of people that would like to speak on this issue. All of those that would like to speak, you're going to have to stand up, and we're going to cuss you in, okay? All people that want to speak, please stand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You do. Okay. I have a list of people here that would like to speak, and I think Mr. Tucker wants to speak. So, Mr. Tucker, step forward and please identify yourself and let us know where you live.
Yeah, no, they haven't run me off yet, so get the joy of having me up here first again. And I would like Mr. Broom to follow me if that is acceptable.
Can you give us your address, please?
6839 Tuscaloosa Drive, Leesburg, Florida.
Thank you, sir.
A quick clarification here, if I may. The PUD, the copy of the final PUD that was sent to me on Wednesday is 19-222. The PUD on the agenda here is 21-78. Can we clarify which one we are talking about? Is 222 the correct one, or are we doing 78, the expired one?
Well, it says 2178 on the PUD, so I'm not sure, Murray, what you're talking about. If you look on the top page of the PUD, it has several numbers on there.
I didn't see that one, that's why I was curious.
It is, but you're correct, it's 2178.
Okay.
It was just showing the previous case numbers.
My second clarification before I get going here, I don't see mention of annexing the 18.5 acres in the property, even though it was not annexed in. Are y'all not wanting to annex it this time, or?
Annexations are heard directly at City Commission. It was a decision made, I don't know, 18, 19 years ago. Okay. The Planning Commission doesn't hear the actual annexation.
Okay, I thought we talked about it at the last time we were here. So okay, that's all I got then. All right. Well, my name is Murray Tucker, as most of you already know. I am representing the Sunnyside Property Owners Association. I handed out a packet to everybody. As y'all probably remember me talking about the first meeting is a long time ago. In late 99, I believe it was, 2000, I don't have the notes in front of me. Us as a concerned group of citizens led by my dad came to the city expressing our concern about the growth. A group called the Sunnyside Task Force was formed. They looked at this from all the angles and made recommendations of the density. So the first page shows the Sunnyside area and what the task force came up with, and this is straight off the county GIS map. And the second page shows the subject property outlined in red and where it lies, and approximately 50% of it lies in the low, which is 1-to-1, and the other half lies in the 1-per-3. So right off the bat, the density of this greatly exceeds what the city told us they were going to do out there. Y'all probably remember that from last time, but I'm not going to dwell on it, but I just wanted to refresh y'all on that.
My understanding was that this was a recommendation from the committee, and there was no commitment from the city commission on that. It would be subject to their review at that point in time.
All I know, it was adopted by ordinance from the city of Leesburg.
With a caveat.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mentioned 97.1 buildable acres. That's not consistent with what the GIS website shows for wetlands. I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to say that I don't necessarily believe that's correct. But anyway, this property is a substantial amount of wetlands. And what you basically have is a cluster development surrounded by the more modern developments. And I know Greg mentioned me talk about the older ones, but I'm not including the ones that were done at the turn of the century. I'm looking at modern ones after the Sunnyside Task Force. And third page shows Secretariat that directly connects to this property. That's all 5-acre lots. Most of the houses on there are substantially large. I don't know the exact square footage, but very large. And on the fourth page, I'm showing to the south, that's Sunny Ridge Court. All those lots are 1.55 to over 2 acres. Multiple houses over 4,000 square feet. In fact, it's in the deed restrictions that certain portions of it have to have 4,000 square foot houses. I don't know what the whole thing is because I don't have them all. Page 5 shows to the north, and those are approximately 5-acre lots. I have deducted the wetlands from it to kind of give an apples to apples, since they're talking about, well, they can't use all their wetlands, well, neither are they, but we're still looking at, well over 2-acre lots. And I've attached to that the deed restrictions 3,800 square foot houses. This proposed development compared to what's around it, and the fact that you got so much wetlands, at least half of it's wetlands. Then you had 160 houses on top of that. You guys denied 139 last time, I believe it was. Now we're more dense, the same amount of area. We're talking small lots. Minimum setback is 7.5 feet, so you're going to have houses within 15 feet of one another. It is just so inconsistent. I mean, yeah, you can say density is the same, but at some point common sense has to take over and go, wait a minute, we're not comparing apples to apples. We're talking two people can't stand out at the corner of their house in social distance at this density. It's just, so I'm asking for denial just due to the fact that it does not fit within the modern surrounding areas, not even close. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I understand that Mr. Broom, Mr. Tucker has covered an awful lot of territory. And Mr. Broom, if you have something new to add to that, I'd appreciate it. And comments we want to be rhetorical, not complete repeating everything that we've already heard.
Understood.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Broom.
you. Yes, for the record, Zach Broom, Bonnetroff, retained by Mr. Tucker. No, I'm going to focus on the
Are
code.
you a local person, sir?
Yes, sir, Eustis.
Okay, very good.
I had the pleasure of being part of this process the last go-around, so I'm intimately familiar.
Thought you were familiar.
So my comments are focusing on code, the PUD application, and the history of this project. As I believe was indicated by staff, the current zoning of the property is a combination of a few zonings, but the two that I want to dwell on are estate residential and PUD. Now, the only PUD zoning that I can find for that area goes all the way back to the original planned unit development application that was done back in 2005. The reason that's relevant, at that time, I believe staff indicated that the city doesn't use net density in evaluating the properties. But back then, when they approved, the city approved 120 units in the PUD, they actually explicitly called out that the gross density could not exceed 1 unit per acre with a net density not to exceed 1.7 per residential units. So the city has, for that underlying PUD zoning in that property, previously analyzed what the net density would be out there. But gross density is 1-to-1, not 1.2, not 1.19 or 1.17. Further, by the City of Leesburg's own code, section 25-280, the density in RE1, estate residential, is 1-to-1. They also have in the setbacks and the lot widths, they talk about minimum lot width is 100 and the depth is 150. If you go look at the PUD, the application, on the 50-foot lots, the minimum width is 50 feet by 125, then it's 70 feet by 125, and 80 by 100. So the applicant is talking about densities allowable by code in some of these, like R1A, but under RE1, none of the lots requested meet the current zoning out there. And they don't meet the zoning that was allowed under the original PUD. So to the extent the proportions of the application are relying on the current PUD zoning, and you look back at the 05 PUD, they don't match. And to the extent it's in residential estate, they don't match. So our position is that the application is not consistent because it's not consistent with the underlying zoning for the PUD application. And as a note, one of the things I heard them talk about, that this is a modified application, and I'll confess I was looking for modification other than the 18 lots to the 18 acres, because otherwise the rest of this appears to be the similar application that was denied within the last year. I know there's some question of what constitutes denial, but because they never reached the PUD portion of the application when the city council denied the comprehensive plan amendment. But our position would be this is premature anyways, but if we are going to consider it, the densities are not consistent for at least a significant portion of the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan, do you have any comment on that?
You can put any size lots. You can put any size lots you want to in a PUD. That has no bearing, and it's simply irrelevant.
Yep. Okay. We have some other people here that have filled out a form. Let's see. That's Zach. Got you covered. Got Murray Tucker covered. Joe O'Lear?
Yep, that's me.
Joe, please.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Joe O'Lear. I'm very new to the neighborhood.
Address, please, sir.
8046. We're hopefully getting our certificate of occupancy tomorrow.
Is there a street that 8046 is on?
Gibson Terrace.
Thank you.
So I'm going to be driving by this city development thing, going to my house every day. I could have bought a lot and built a house anywhere, but I chose here. I was showing my wife around the lakes. I thought they were very charming. She stepped out of the car, and when I showed her this lot after rolling up the hills and up to it, she said, "Ooh, wow." I said, "Okay, we're going to make an offer on this property." She said, No. I said, "You said, ooh, wow, can't take it back." So 2 years later, way over budget, hopefully get their certificate of occupancy tomorrow. Now, I don't know if you guys know what you have here. You have something very charming here. It's very nice rural. It's fairly close. Leesburg, you got Mount Dora. This uglies it. This is an ask. All they're doing is asking. They may have all kinds of reasons and rhymes, but it's an ask. I can ask to borrow your car. I can have a good reason. You can say no. I can say, well, I'll put gas in it. You can say no. I say, well, I'm insured. I got a good license. I'll even fill it up and bring it right back. No. This is an ask. That's all it is. Some of the people you've quoted that meets their criteria, well, me borrowing your car and filling it full of gas meets a lot of people's criteria. But you can still say no. It's an ask. They're asking to put this thing in a rural area. And it's a lot of charm. And if we drove by this, I'm pretty sure my wife would have said no. I would have said, show me something else. This ruins it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person I have is David. That's all it says here. Well, David,
We can swear you in.
we can swear you in.
Okay.
Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I've been here less than a year. I live at 7146 Sunnyside Drive, and yes, I will have to drive right through that every day.
Okay.
Okay? The roads aren't very good in the first place, and why we did buy it because it is a very nice rural area, and we did not expect to have anybody want to rezone it so quickly.
Welcome
But
to
after
Florida.
we moved in,
Welcome to Florida.
well, thank you, because I moved away from California to get away from government, which is really bad out there. And there's a lot of people, and I don't mean to offend you, sir, but when you turn around and you start offering us all these different things so that you can get something, I
really cringe. I do not like when people start pulling things like that. Government has gotten out of control, and they're not listening to the people. And the people here are saying, we don't want this. Okay? That's all it is to it. We don't want it. Who does? Who wants it? Who's the person behind this? You know, I don't believe it's you. I believe you're working for somebody. Is that correct? Okay. So he's trying to make a profit off it. We're going to be the big losers. And the city will be the big loser too, because you're going to lose a magnificent piece of property out there. You're going to turn it into a city where we don't want everybody coming in here and throwing their trash and stuff. I've seen it already. I don't want to see it again. So I've said enough. I don't want to offend anybody. If I did, I apologize. Okay? I just want to say I love Florida. Don't let it turn into California. Thank you.
Okay. I want to thank you all for being to the point and brief. Does the commission have any questions of Mr. Beliveau or of any of the people that have spoken?
Greg, can I get a number of lots based on this footage with?
Pardon me?
You have a total number of lots for the 50, the 70, the 80?
Yeah, I don't have it top of my head, but we do have it split up in how many 50s we got, how many 60s and 70s.
It's in the PUD, I think.
And
I didn't see the breakdown on that in the packet.
You were correct. I saw it somewhere. Can't count them from here, Greg.
The 50s are the only place the 50s are is in that interior pod around the open space.
I saw the mention of that, but it didn't tell me the total number or any other.
Forty-seven
47 50 foot
50s.
wide lots.
You say 47?
Wait a minute.
Give or take one or two?
Maybe 50. All the ones in the front past that loop, all the ones along the frontage along Sunnyside are the 80s. And the one with the cul-de-sac going to the north toward Sunnyside are 60s, and the 60s in the middle, and 60s along the north.
Where do we get 60s?
Pardon me?
Where do we get 60s?
I mean 70s, I'm sorry. 50s, 70s, and 80s. The 70s are along the north area and along the interior loop, and then the 80s are along the property boundaries.
So are we looking roughly 50 lots each?
50, yeah, about that way. Yeah. Third, a third, and a third. Plus or minus.
Any other questions from the commission?
And the only thing in rebuttal is that our wetlands do not account for 50% of the site. They only account for approximately 30%. And our density, as the attorney brought out in the opposition, the previous PUD, if it capped it at net at 1.7, our current net is 1.68. So we're still within that old guideline. So we haven't violated that one, even though we don't really have to. So when you look at some of these criteria, we're still within those parameters. So we're still within some of the old guidelines, even though we, in looking at this from a net versus gross, again, we have, I won't beat this dead horse, but we're having, the fact that we exceeded our open space requirements, and we clustered everything internally as we could. We tried to put all the largest lots along our perimeters, so as people drove by this property, they would see a buffer and the largest lots. And, well, second largest, because the largest are obviously on the lake, on the east side. So, anyway, I'll be glad to answer your questions.
Okay, let's take if you don't mind going through the buffer. This site plan is tiny. So I'm on the north side here, and I'm in the northwest corner. So that buffer, that green area dropping down to the homes, is what kind of distance? Before you get to where it abuts the gentleman, the 6
These
lots.
right here?
Nope. Go to your left.
Big green.
Big green.
This?
Yeah. What's that buffer, that distance before you get to the homes?
There?
Yeah. Ballpark.
400 feet.
It's going to be.
It's probably around 900,000 feet.
No.
Huh?
No.
From here
Linear.
to here?
Linear. Just linear distance.
From here to here?
Yep.
It's about 1,000 feet.
Okay. So
I thought you said 900,000.
I thought you
No.
said 900,000 too.
No.
900 to 1,000.
So it's between an eighth and a quarter mile then?
Yeah.
Okay, somewhere in that distance. And now you have 6 houses that kind of butt up against this, there's a gentleman's farm.
Yeah.
That's right there on the north side.
Mm-hmm.
Then we seem to get to a heavier buffer again, where the road is. What is that distance there? Along the road, and it goes along, the house is there.
I don't know what you're...
The bottom of the loop.
Yeah, right there.
Oh.
Yeah, going around that
There's a
loop.
25-foot buffer all the way around.
Right, but what is the distance? There's a 25 buffer, and then there's
Yeah.
also green area. What is that?
All this,
Yep.
from here to here, from that point to that point, it's approximately, let's see, I have to say, about 70 feet.
Okay, so it's a pretty good distance then, too.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
by the
you-
way, that's all wooded. That's all oak trees.
So really, the exposure to the street is going to be the larger lots that you're showing that there seems to be about, it depends on how you count them,
Yeah.
12 or 13.
And that's why we put the buffer along the road system.
Right.
Because those folks' backyards, they're not going to be too enthused about having,
Yeah.
the street in their backyard.
And the 6 on the south side are abutting Orange Grove right now.
Correct.
At least that's what
Correct.
it shows.
Yeah.
And then you get back to the longer distances back along on the other side of the property.
That orange grove is one lot.
Right, okay. No, I just wanted to get an idea of how far it was tucked in. Okay.
Greg?
Yes.
On that Sunnyside Drive where those 12 lots or 13 lots, the rear abuts the right-of-way to the road, is there any type of a buffer?
Yeah. All that's
That's-
buffered all the way along the
What
right-of-way.
do you mean buffered by what?
We're going to have landscape buffers along that. It's going to have a 25-foot landscape buffer.
All
and-
the way down?
Yes, all the way down. The details here, so that those folks, when they look out their backyards, are going to have to look at the traffic that's going along Sunnyside Drive.
Is the developer, if this is approved, would they put a fence?
It's not required by the project. Now, after they get going and they get enough resistance from the people who live here, they may put one up just from a noise,
I know you said something early on about communication with the county regarding the road improvement. Tell us a little bit more about that again.
Well, we're going to have to improve the road because of utility improvements all the way down and then do an entry feature and come down. We've already donated right-of-way. The owners already donated right-of-way to Sunnyside on all of their frontage already to do future improvements.
So now, are you saying that the developer is going to make the improvements to that road? Or the
This
county?
developer is going to have to improve.
But from the
Sunnyside.
beginning, just from the beginning of this property, but about
Right.
that distance from that point going back to the north?
No, they're not.
The developer wouldn't, but
no.
In communications, have you spoken with anybody with Public Works in Lake County about this, their involvement in improving that road? I don't know. I mean,
No, we haven't. they've only beat us up for our frontage. So they haven't
that's
said
one of the-
anything about from here back.
That's one of the big issues out there, is that road is very narrow and it's in poor shape.
Well, I was amazed that they didn't, when they did the Public Works project earlier,
Yeah.
when they resurfaced it all the way going the other direction and stopped just down here, why they didn't go in both directions.
Do you think this activity would encourage that to happen?
I think so, because, you got more development happening at this end now. Because previous, there was all these developments got approved on that other end. And they had 2 or 3 subdivisions going in at the other end of Sunnyside. So but they haven't expressed any details to us. I just met with them to find out what do I have to do on this side.
Thank you.
What square footage would houses be?
They're outlined in the PUD. We have every
1,600,
different
2,000,
lot size is
2,600.
identified with different house dimensions. And we didn't, they're all different. They start with
16, 2,000, 2,600, I think.
Yeah.
Is that the smallest, 16?
Mm-hmm. And the thing about this market is that we have the housing requirements and the housing needs right now are, and we're trying to hit several markets within this. We're going everywhere from, people who are trying to get, housing addressed in the, in the medical fields, all the way to the doctors.
Right.
I mean, we're trying to hit everybody. I mean, I just had my stress test taken right down the road here at Citrus Cardiology, and the girl that was taking it commuted all the way from Lakeland. I mean, that's where she lives. And I asked, well, how many people in this office commute all the way from Lakeland? And she goes, or an equal distance, not necessarily from Lakeland. She goes, over 50% of the people that work there commuted from 45 minutes to an hour and a half. And I said, that's ridiculous. And I said, well, what's going to happen to the workforce here? And she goes, they're making major decisions in that office of whether they're going to continue working here or not. Well, if they make major decisions to not continue to work in Leesburg, and they go back and find jobs where they live, that means we have employers that are going to have to now find new employees. And I got to tell you, we have employers right now that are fighting to keep their employees because they can't find a place to live. I mean, they can't. I mean, you've got employers now that are looking for employees and they can't find a place to live. That's a fact. And I mean, they just can't. I mean, I belong to some organizations that right now that have employers that got job notices out, and they interview people and they can't find a place to live. They just can't. And it's not any singular market. It's across the board. It's every market. And we need housing. We flat need housing in this county.
We do.
And we've got to do something about it.
I agree.
Any more questions from the commission?
Got a hand.
Okay. I have Isaac Mitchell that is asked to speak. And I tell you what, normally we cuss people in at the beginning of the meeting. But Mr. Mitchell?
Dr. Mitchell.
You haven't spoken yet?
No. Dr. Mitchell.
I stand corrected, Dr. Mitchell.
Yes, well, thank you.
If you would
So-
please raise your right hand, sir.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. So,
Thank you, Doctor.
name's Isaac Mitchell, live at 6806 Silver Charm Court. I've lived pretty much at that address or in the Sunnyside area for 18 years. I don't usually come to these meetings because I don't like to waste a lot of people's time, including mine. I know some of you from being at the hospital. It's tough. Of course, you have a room full of people that are very passionate about living back here. And I think the one question, like, I don't know, because, I mean, I live in the circle, is how many of you live in the circle? If you could raise your hand.
I've lived in Sunnyside twice.
No, now.
I live in Sunnyside.
Okay, so the final decision is made by you guys, right?
No.
No?
No, we're just a recommending body. We recommend to the city commission makes the final decision.
Okay,
sir.
so if you recommended no, I don't know how much weight that carries versus you recommended yes. Because one of the things, and again, I don't understand the whole process other than it means a lot to a lot of people, and it's already crowded back there. The roads are tough. They're one way in, one way, I mean, one lane each way. They're dangerous for kids on bikes, everything else, walkers. And absolutely, we need housing, and we need a lot of stuff. But the reality is, I live in these Secretariat strip where those 5-acre lots, those houses are big, you know, 5,000+ square feet, 7,000 square feet. All of them are 5-acre lots. And the same thing, when I came through here like the other gentleman, now, I came from LA, I didn't leave for the same reasons, but, you know, I grew up in a concrete jungle. I didn't have grass where I lived. Now I got weeds, you know. But the deal is, when you decided, just like everybody else, to buy, you decided to buy based on what you see and what's there. And if you saw a big monstrosity or something that didn't fit, you wouldn't have bought it. And so once you buy it, and then somebody switches, kind of a bait and switch, that makes you feel very uncomfortable. So you would not have anybody in this room if everything fit. I've never been in one of these meetings. I don't want to waste anybody's time. If everything in Sunnyside was 5-acre lots, there'd be nobody here. Not a single person. But it's when you start chopping it up that people say, well, that's not what I bought. That's not why I'm here. You know, why? If you go around, everybody back there says they wanted to be back there because it was quiet, it was slow, it was nice, you could walk around the loop. You know, we used to walk with our dogs around the loop. You can't do that. And my office, yeah, we need employees, but I mean, to not BS people, people are coming from all over the place or not coming from all over the place for various reasons. And it's not just because we don't have stacked housing, you know what I mean? So the thing that I would say is to understand that the people that live back there are telling you what they really want, which is you don't want this thing. And if it looked like what you already had, it'd be an empty place. Your meeting would be very fast. Nobody would say anything.
Thank you, sir. And of course, you know that not everybody can afford a 5-acre lot. We have to make housing available for everyone as well. So, is there any more questions? The commission, anything you want to discuss?
One more thing. Have you considered putting a wall around up along Sunnyside?
Yeah.
All right. That's not in the...
Oh, we haven't discontinued this. We haven't, you know, discounted any options.
Because aesthetically, looking into someone's backyard when you're driving down there would not be appealing either. Okay. All right.
Okay.
I've got just a little discussion. Are we closed to the public?
Yes, I'm going to close this off to the public now. We've pretty well told everything. We've heard everything from you folks, and this isn't the first time. I appreciate you all participating. It means a lot to get participation from everyone. That's why we make the big bucks up here. Okay, closed for the public, open to the commission.
Yeah, I've got a little discussion. I guess I got to explain myself. I've got friends on both sides, and
I can't.
She said she asked to speak.
she's complaining that she can't speak.
Let her speak. Ma'am, at the beginning of the meeting, I asked for anybody that wanted to speak to stand up and be sworn in. Were you sworn in?
Yeah. She signed too, I think.
Did you fill out a form? They're at the front door.
Let her speak.
Let me ask you this. Do you have anything new to add that has not been said? Do you have anything new to be said that has not been said?
Has anything been said about the safety of our children on the road with an additional 300 to 600 cars?
Yes, ma'am, it has been said and it has been heard. You got to realize this is the third time this has come past this commission. Ma'am, you're not on the record back there. I tell you what, why don't you come on up and we'll, no ma'am, if you can't come in and speak into the microphone, you're not under the record.
She's not helping their position.
You're not helping, ma'am, but go ahead.
I'm not trying to help
Your
or not
name
help.
and who you are and
My
where you
name
live.
is Melody Rasnick. I live at 30310 Red Tree Drive in the Arbormere subdivision off of Sunnyside. I've lived here since January, found out that this was an issue in May. And like this other gentleman, I could have bought or built a home anywhere I wanted to. Chose the subdivision and the area of Sunnyside because of the qualities of picturesque and the wetlands that were preserved. When I found out in May that it was an issue, my very first thought, even before the concerns of the wetlands, was the fact that the infrastructure has not been laid out in that area to allow for all of these additional homes. It is not there. If you've ever walked our streets, and we have people who walk every day, we have people who bicycle every day. You put 300 plus new homes, the average home has 2 cars. You're talking 600 more cars on our streets
Ma'am, that
with
number
our
is not
children.
accurate.
Okay, all right, that's the national average, but you can
No,
call
I'm
it
saying
inaccurate.
that's not how many homes they're asking to put in there.
Okay, I misheard then. What is the number?
100 and, what is the total number?
116, was it?
No, 163.
Okay, so we're talking
163.
over 300 new cars. Can we agree on that, that the average, okay, over 300 new cars with the addition of the cars that we now have. I'm asking for the sake of children, for the sake of elderly, for the sake of all of us who live there, that you consider the fact that you have not prepared for any type of additional subdivision by creating the appropriate infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think we put the infrastructure in. She did not help.
Yeah, we didn't build those roads. Whoever built them sure did a lousy job, I agree. Okay. Again, I have closed this for public comment.
Again.
Again. Does the commission have anything to discuss?
Yeah, I'll try again here. Like I said before, I have friends on both sides. I understand the situation on both sides because I am a real estate person. But I do have a problem with that many homes. I have a problem with the size of lots. And I forgot what else I was going to say, but oh, the size of the homes. The size of the homes bothers me. So I wanted to explain why I'm going to vote against it. So I thought that was only fair. Instead of just voting, I wanted to say why.
And
Any other comments from anybody?
And that's my problem too, the size of the lots and the size of the home. I done voted against everyone that has small lots, and I just don't like smaller lots with these size homes.
Any other comments?
I'd like to thank you guys for enlarging the lot size on the east side on those waterfront lots. That's amazing improvement, in my opinion, to create those estate homes on the Lake Harris. I too feel like the size of lots and homes is not in keeping with what I think we should have in that area.
Okay. Anybody else? Point of order for council. The item number 1, which is 2177. Can these be separated out?
Oh, then
and just maybe approve what they're asking for on what they, because I like what they're decided to do with the lakefront, with 4 lots instead of 16 or 18 lots.
There is really no basis to do that because it's a unified application.
Correct, I thought so. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you, council. At this point in time, call the question, ask for a motion. On SSCP 2177.
On case number SSCP 2177, I vote to deny.
I have a motion for denial. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye and show your right hand.
Aye.
Same sign. Passes unanimously. Hold it down. We got some more business to take care of. All right, on public hearing case on the rezoning PUD 2178. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll enter a motion for PUD 21-78 for denial.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for denial. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raise your right hand.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Now pass.
Point of order. This, on October 25th, will go to the City Commission. There will be the final decision. We are nothing more than just a recommending body.
It'll be 2 times.
It'll be 2 times, yes. The first reading will be on the, the first reading will be on the 11th of October. The second reading will be on the 25th of October.
And that's when it'll be voted on.
That's when the final hammer will come down. Thank you all for your participation. We do appreciate you showing up. All right, is there anything brought before the commission? If hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Have a motion. All in favor? Get up and leave.